My daughter started talking to someone in her room at night. It's just an imaginary friend, I assumed, until she whispered, he says you killed him. I laughed, but she didn't. He's watching you right now. My blood ran cold. A photo fell off the wall, and a deep voice rumbled, you forgot about me, didn't you? I spun around, and saw a shadow that shouldn't have been there. Hey Reddit, I'm a 39-year-old single dad living in the outskirts of Asheville, North Carolina. My daughter, Lily, is 6. She's always been imaginative, talking to her dolls and creating elaborate stories. So, when she started mentioning an imaginary friend named Tommy, I didn't think much of it. At first, it was innocent. She'd giggle in her room, whispering secrets to Tommy. But then, things took a turn. One night, as I tucked her into bed, she whispered, Daddy, Tommy says you killed him. I chuckled, thinking it was part of her game. Oh. And why would he say that? She looked me dead in the eyes, her face serious. He says you're lying. He says you're pretending you don't remember. A chill ran down my spine. Lily, it's just a game, right? She shook her head slowly. He says he's watching you right now. Suddenly, a photo from our dresser crashed to the floor. The room was still, no breeze, no movement. Then, a deep voice echoed, not from Lily, but from somewhere else in the room, you forgot about me, didn't you? I spun around, heart pounding. In the corner, a shadow darker than the rest seemed to loom, its shape indistinct but menacing. Part 2, the voice in the corner. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the hallway outside Lily's room with the door cracked open, watching her. She slept like nothing happened. Like that voice wasn't real. Like the shadow didn't move on its own. By morning, I tried to convince myself I was just tired. Maybe I imagined the voice. Maybe the photo just fell. But Lily didn't let it go. She started talking to Tommy all the time. Not in the cutesy way little kids usually do, but serious, intense conversations. Sometimes she'd cry. Sometimes she'd argue. Once, I heard her whisper, but he's my daddy. He didn't mean to, that stopped me cold. I asked her at breakfast, what did Tommy say last night? She stared at her cereal. He's mad you don't remember him. Remember who? She didn't look up. He says his name isn't really Tommy. That's just what he told me at first. Then what's his real name? Her little hand gripped the spoon tighter. He says it'll come back to you when you're ready. I started looking into our house. It was built in the 60s. Nothing too special. Just an old ranch-style home on the edge of town. The county records showed several owners over the years. No murders, no missing people. Nothing that stood out. But something about that voice wouldn't let me rest. So I did something I hadn't done in a long time. I called my brother, Jake. Jake and I. We don't talk much. Family stuff. But he's the only one who knew me when I was a teenager. When things were different. I asked him, do you remember anyone named Tommy? He went quiet. For a long time. Then said, why? I told him what Lily said. The voice. The photo. The way it all felt wrong. He sighed. Shit. What? You don't remember him, do you? Jake, what the hell are you talking about? He told me a story I had completely forgotten. Or maybe buried. Back in high school, we used to sneak out at night. Me, Jake, and another kid. His name was Thomas. I didn't remember at first, but when Jake said it, pieces started coming back. We were just dumb kids. Causing trouble, drinking, stealing beers from Jake's boss's fridge. Thomas was a weird kid. Quiet. Always watching us. One night we went to this old quarry. Just to mess around. Drink. Throw rocks into the water. Jake swore we were all just playing. There was pushing. Shouting. Stupid dares. And then Thomas slipped. Or jumped. Or was pushed. Jake said we all freaked out. Said I blamed myself, lost it. I went silent for days. Then I just moved on. Like nothing happened. Jake said we never told anyone. We thought nobody saw us. But someone did. And now he was back. I couldn't believe it. My mind fought it. I didn't want it to be true. But I also couldn't deny the way the air in the house felt heavier now. How Lily would wake up with bruises she couldn't explain. How toys would move on their own. How the lights flickered only in her room. I tried to protect her. I saged the place. I even brought in a priest, even though I'm not religious. Nothing worked. Every night, the voice got stronger. Then one night, Lily drew a picture. It was a stick figure of me, standing next to a black figure with red eyes. Underneath, she'd written in shaky letters, "He remembers now." I asked her, "Lily, why did you draw this?" She looked up, tired. Too tired for a 6-year-old. Because he says you have to say sorry. Or he'll take me instead. That's when I knew this wasn't about the house. It wasn't about Lily's imagination. It was about me. Something I did. Something I forgot. Or wanted to forget. That night, I dreamed of the quarry. But it wasn't just a dream. I was there. It was dark. Wet. Cold. I saw Thomas standing at the edge, looking back at me. "You let me fall," he said. "You watched." I woke up gasping, sweat soaking the sheets. And on the wall above my bed, someone, or something, had scratched 3 words into the paint. "You know now." Things escalated fast after that. Lily started sleepwalking. I'd find her in the living room, staring at the front door. She'd whisper things I couldn't understand. Sometimes she'd speak in a voice that wasn't hers. Once, I heard her say, "He wants the truth. If you lie again, I won't come back." I tried to take her to a therapist, but the second we got into the office, Lily screamed. Not cried. Screamed like she was being torn apart. "He says you're trying to hide again. He says you're lying." We left. I couldn't explain it. Then came the night when I saw him. Not just a shadow. Not just a voice. I saw Thomas. Or something that looked like him. In the hallway. Standing between me and Lily's room. His face was wrong. Twisted. Like a water-damaged photo. And he spoke. "I waited," he said. "I waited in the dark. Now it's your turn." I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. And then he vanished. Now I'm sitting here, typing this, because I don't know what to do next. I'm scared. Not for me. For Lily. Because last night, she said something that I can't shake. I asked her, "Is he still here?" And she said, "He's inside now. Not outside anymore." I said, "Inside what?" And she pointed to her own chest. "He's inside me, Daddy." The hollow place. I didn't let Lily sleep in her room after that. I moved her bed into mine. I locked all the windows. I even started sleeping with a baseball bat. Not that it would do anything against, whatever this was. But she was changing. Not just tired or scared anymore. She was different. She'd stare too long. Not blink enough. Smile at nothing. Her voice would shift mid-sentence, deeper, slower. She started drawing pictures that made me sick to my stomach. One showed a body underwater, arms reaching up, another had our house on fire, with her watching from the window, smiling. And then I noticed something else. She had stopped calling me Daddy. She just said him now. I started digging deeper. I drove back to the quarry one afternoon, just to see it again. It had been filled in years ago, turned into some kind of nature preserve. Families were walking around like nothing ever happened there. But I stood by the water's edge, the same one from my dream. And something pulled at me, memories I didn't want. Thomas screaming. My hand shoving. Jake shouting, "Stop it." Me laughing. Thomas falling. Then nothing. Dark water. Silence. I nearly threw up. Back in my truck, I saw something in the rearview mirror. Lily. But she was at home. I left her with Jake just for a few hours. But in the mirror, there she was, standing behind my truck, eyes black as coal, just watching. I turned fast. No one there. That night, I told Jake everything. I begged him to tell me the truth, the whole truth. He didn't want to. But I pushed. I screamed. I demanded to know what really happened. And Jake finally broke. He said it wasn't just us three. There was a fourth kid. A kid I didn't remember at all. His name was Daniel. And Jake said I was the reason he disappeared. You lost it, Jake told me, not meeting my eyes. You said they were laughing at you. You and Daniel fought all the time. One night, you dragged him out into the woods near the quarry. You were ranting. Saying he took your place. We thought it was just a dumb kid fight. But the next morning, he was gone. I didn't believe him. I couldn't. But when I got home, I found a new picture on Lily's pillow. This one wasn't crayon. It was a photo. Old. Faded. 4 kids standing at the edge of a quarry. Me, Jake, Thomas. And a boy I didn't recognize. Someone had scratched out his face. Lily barely spoke now. But sometimes, late at night, she'd sit up and talk in her sleep. She buried the box, she mumbled once. He's still in there. I asked her the next morning, what box? She just smiled. You'll see. I went back to the woods near the quarry. I didn't know what I was looking for. Just started digging where the trees thinned out. And I found something. A rusted tin box, wrapped in a piece of what looked like a child's hoodie. Inside was a small collection of junk, stones, a plastic toy soldier, an old Polaroid. The photo was of me. Just me. And on the back, someone had written, he said I'd be your only friend. You lied. I dropped it. The air grew heavy. A whisper in my ear, you promised. That night, the lights in the house exploded. Literally shattered. Sparks flew. The oven turned itself on and began to heat at full blast. Lily screamed from the bedroom. When I reached her, she was floating. Her back arched unnaturally, eyes white. I held her and screamed, "Stop it. Leave her alone. I'll do whatever you want." She dropped like a rock onto the bed. Gasping. Crying. But it wasn't her voice that answered. From the corner of the room came a child's voice. Dig deeper. I'm losing track of time now. I barely sleep. Lily's drawings have grown violent. Bloody stick figures. Decapitated heads. A man hanging from a tree. Last night she handed me one and whispered, "It's your turn now." It was a drawing of me, on fire, while 3 black shapes stood watching from the woods. I went back to Jake again, shaking, furious. Why didn't you ever tell me? And he broke again. Because we made you forget, he said. You were going to tell. You were cracking. So we took you to Dad's old friend, he did something to you. Some kind of ritual. Something dark. He said it would take away the memories. We didn't know it would bring them back. That's when it hit me. The voice in the room. The photos falling. The scratches in the wall. It wasn't just a haunting. It was a memory clawing its way back through the hole we'd buried it in. And the worst part? Lily is just the messenger. She's the vessel. They're using her, whoever they are. Whatever they are. Last night she stood by my bed and whispered something that made my heart stop. He says you have to dig them up. All of them. Every one you forgot. I said, there's only Thomas and Daniel. She smiled again, but it wasn't her smile. There were more. After what Lily said, there were more. I couldn't sit still. I didn't go to work. Didn't eat. Just started digging into every old yearbook, every news clipping from that time. I even visited the local library and requested microfilm from the 90s. And I found them. 3 names. 3 kids who vanished from our school district during my teenage years. One of them was a kid named Evan Marsh. Another was a girl named Kylie Renter. The last was a boy, Jacob Heller. Each case was the same: kid went missing, no leads, no trace. Police chalked it up to runaways, custody issues, maybe even wild animals in the woods. But I knew better now. I started having visions, waking dreams. I'd blink, and suddenly I'd be in the woods. In the dark. Holding a shovel. I'd hear crying. Whimpering. Sometimes laughing. And in those dreams, I wasn't alone. There were other kids in the woods. Their faces were blurred. Their mouths didn't move right. Like they were trying to scream without a voice. And always, Lily stood at the tree line, watching me, her eyes black and hollow. One night, I snapped. I packed Lily in the car and drove her to my brother's house. "You're watching her tonight," I told Jake. "Don't let her out of your sight." He nodded, scared. Finally scared like I was. I drove out to the old preserve where the quarry used to be. It was closed. Barbed wire lined the edges. But I didn't care. I climbed through, shovel in hand. I don't remember how I knew where to dig. But I did. 3 hours passed. Nothing. Then I hit something. Cloth. I kept digging. And found a shoe. Then bone. I called the police. Anonymous tip. They cordoned off the place fast. Within a week, they pulled out 3 bodies. Children. All confirmed missing since the 90s. The story hit every local paper. National media even picked it up for a day or two. But no one linked them to me. No one remembered. Except Jake. And Lily. The night the bodies were found, I came home and found Jake on the porch. He looked pale. Shaking. "She said your name," he whispered. "She said they're still hungry." I ran inside. Lily was sitting at the kitchen table, hands folded like she was at church. "Is it over?" I asked. She smiled. "No." And then she tilted her head slowly. "There's one more." That night I dreamed again. Except this time, I was inside a coffin. Dark. Tight. No air. I could hear kids laughing. A voice whispered, "You forgot the worst one." I woke up screaming. Sweating. Bleeding from my nose. Lily stood at the door. "They said you buried him alive," she said softly. "He never died." "Not really." I drove to Jake's that morning, tears pouring down my face. "You have to help me," I said. "Please. Please help me remember." Jake didn't say a word. He led me out to the shed behind his house. There was a tarp covering something large. He pulled it off. A box. Not wood. Concrete. Sealed shut. Jake said, "You left him here." You said it was better this way. You said he'd stop screaming if no one could hear him. I broke. I dropped to my knees and screamed. I remembered everything. The boy. The fights. The final night when I held him down with both hands while Jake poured cement into that awful box. We were just kids. Stupid. Angry. Playing God. But he didn't die fast. He clawed the walls for hours. We heard it. And we left him anyway. That night I went back. With a sledgehammer. Jake tried to stop me. But I broke the box open. And the moment the lid cracked, I heard the scream. Loud. Piercing. Not from the box. From inside me. It wasn't just his voice. It was all of them. Trapped in me. I fell backward, clutching my head, my ears. Blood poured from my nose again. And then, silence. I woke up in the hospital. They said I was found outside my house, covered in dirt, screaming. No charges. No statements. They just wanted me to get help. But they don't understand. None of them do. Because when I finally got home, Lily was gone. The only thing left was a note, written in crayon, in a child's messy scrawl, "We took her. You lied again. You always lie." There was no trace. No prints. No signs of a break-in. Just her drawings, scattered around the room. All of them showing the same thing, a man standing in the middle of a burning forest. Surrounded by shadowy children. And a little girl holding hands with all of them, smiling. I've spent the last 6 months searching. Looking. Digging. And every so often, when I'm alone, I hear her voice. Soft. Far away. Singing. Then the whispers return. Tell the truth. Dig deeper. It's your turn now.